Hello creatures, welcome to Bound by Words. Today we are talking about my April Camp NaNoWriMo goals. I definitely needed to get coffee for this one because even just talking about my plans for April, it's a lot. So I will say before we start, make sure you give this video a thumbs up, and if you aren't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. I post writing related videos twice a week, and I am challenging myself a lot this April to do a lot of things, kind of by accident and scheduling mishaps. I almost told myself that I wasn't going to participate in Camp NaNoWriMo, but I do have writing goals that I want to meet. So it seemed silly, Camp NaNoWriMo, you create your own goals, you can make them as big or as small as you want. So I do have a pretty humble writing goal when it comes to creating new words for my novel. My original goal in January was to do 15,000 words a month. And I will say March was the only month I was really able to do that. I took a few weeks out in January to really re-outline and brainstorm my novel and work on world building, so I knew going into January I wouldn't hit that goal. For most of February I didn't have a working computer, and then March I'm actually at I think 17,000, and March isn't quite over yet. So it was easier to hit that in March, especially because I just did this writing challenge over the last week, so that really helped me accrue some numbers there. But if I hit 15,000 words in April, I will be very impressed with my accomplishments. That alone is going to be a challenge specifically for this month because I am accidentally overbooked. So if you're not familiar with me or my platform, I am a freelance editor. So I normally take at a time one big editing project, just one at a time. So if I have your novel to edit, it's the only novel I'm working on. It's the only long story that I'm super into. I do leave myself open to constantly complete sample edits, short stories, and context submissions, which are usually in short story format. But I will book 6 to 8 weeks where I have just one novel. So I'm hyper focusing on the story and the plot and the characters and how to improve, and I'm not confusing anything. It's just what works best for me. So I had a client for January and February, and their project was going to take the entire 2 months because it is an ESL author with a big word count. And then I had another client for March and April, and I again requested 8 weeks, and at the time I was doing the scheduling, it was because I had chronic migraines super often. So I would frequently go a couple of days just totally out of commission. So these novels are normally things I can complete in smaller time spans, but I like to give myself grace because I am coincidentally human. But there was a mix-up in scheduling with almost both of the authors. The one was very mild, but the one was very extreme. My client for January and February shifted their date back little by little until they told me, I swear I will get it to you by April 1st. So now I have a novel from March to April and a novel from April to May. Now the March to April project, I'm actually working with another author tuber, and her name is Catherine Swift, and I think she does primarily now health and self-love videos, and she has an amazing channel. She's very sweet. I'll link her down below. But she got her beta reader feedback back a little bit late. So I had a 2-week late start for that project, but I think it's going to work out totally fine. It's just I have a busy April. And whenever I agreed to do this manuscript from April to May, I was just thinking, it's manageable. It's going to be a busy April, but I can figure it out and get it done. And I totally forgot that Camp NaNoWriMo was a thing whenever I made those plans. So that was a bit heartbreaking, and I actually made this video and then deleted it, and I'm refilming it now because I've decided to adopt Milwordy rules. Originally, I was just going to stick with 15,000 words. If I hit it, that was going to be amazing. If I didn't, I wasn't even going to break a sweat. I wasn't even going to care, because as long as I get these editing projects done, then that's really all that matters for my April. But then I remembered how Kate Kavanaugh for Milwordy, she's tracking all the words she edits, writes, and reads critically. So I am cheating a little bit in the sense that I'm going to be tracking all of the words that I edit and all of the words that I write. I'm not going to be tracking words that I read critically because I usually do passes of manuscripts, 3 passes for the entire thing, and I don't want to double count words. So I'm going to count all the things that I edit 1 pass of, and then all the things that I write new as my April word count goal for Camp NaNoWriMo. And there's a few reasons that I'm doing this, and the one is I have a very hectic schedule with a very hectic job, and it will turn my tracking from 5 things into 3 outside of my work and my platform. So for example, if I don't track this way, I then have to track my personal writing, my job applications and sample test writing, which I'll talk about in a minute, and then I'll have to track like my first author's writing and my second author's writing, and then also all of my work stuff. I have a coworker now who is out on paternity leave because his wife is having a baby. And you know, I work at a Starbucks, so it's somewhere where if somebody gets a cold, they're regularly out. So I'm just preparing myself to be available to like come in a little bit extra or stay a little bit longer. It usually happens at least once a week that somebody asks me to come in. So before we move on to give a brief explanation of the sample test, is whenever you apply for a job as an editor, you usually get a sample test back. Either they looked at your resume and they're loosely interested, or they just send it to everybody. They send you this sample test so that they can judge their decision based off of somebody's skills, not their experience alone. So these sample tests can be anywhere from a page or two to 10 to 15 pages long. They usually take a few hours at least to do, and to double check and to stress over and then to freak out and then to triple check, because you know, if you're really interested in the job, like that's usually how I go about it. But I get them at random. So I will apply to all of these jobs and it'll be like crickets for weeks, and then I got 3 sample tests in the last week and they were like, we would really like you to complete these and turn them in. So I'm just juggling a lot in my work life. And then I have my platforms, so I have YouTube and Instagram, and then I have my free time stuff that I do, which is my freelance editing and my writing for my own book. So instead of tracking all of those separately, I would absolutely lose my mind. I'm going to track all of my free time writing together, and then I'm going to be tracking all of my platform goals together, and then, you know, work at Starbucks is its own separate thing. So that limits my tracking down to 3 things. I don't talk about this a lot on my channel because I'm really still navigating how I'm going to be handling this in my personal life, but I was recently in the last few months formally diagnosed with ADHD, something that I've known I've had for a while now, but I have like a much different schedule and I've noticed an uptick in symptoms. And some of the symptoms that I have are like a hyperfixation on things that I'm really passionate and excited about, and also I'm very forgetful and I have a very poor sense of time, and they're all things that I'm constantly learning how to manage. Sometimes I find a really good system of how to do something and then I need to replan and recreate and group together and do something totally different. Like I'm in a constant state of making systems for myself and then deconstructing them and then remaking new systems, and I'm just really figuring out what that's going to look like long term when it comes for editing and working from home. So by tracking my editing projects and my writing together, it actually gives me the ability to see if I'm favoring one or the other. It is very important for me in the month of April to favor my editing projects, and I do get very excited and very passionate about editing, but I can't neglect my writing. So tracking them together will let me see if I'm hyperfixating on editing and ignoring my writing, or even vice versa, which I probably won't be vice versa, but I just want to be ready and I want to be prepared and I want to create systems that work and help me manage my time better. That being said, I did some math of what I would have to edit and then what I would have to write to really be on track and to be in a really, really good place at the end of April, and I came up with the number 125,000 words. Now that is outrageous. That wasn't my final goal. I bounced back and forth between like, that's the loose number I came up with, so I should really make it higher to challenge myself. And then my mind was like, no, you need to make it lower to give yourself some grace. And then I did some math and I was like, if I did 120,000 words, that's a lot of words, especially if I get sick. So I decided to round it down to 100,000. I think that would be pretty safe. I'm pretty sure I can get all of the edits that I need to get done by the end of April. And then also 1,500 written words in 100,000. If I could do 120,000, I would be in an amazing place. But because I have all of May to work on that second author's project, it's not as pressing for me to make a huge dent in April, especially with just all the stuff I have going on. It might even be easier to work on the project quicker if I do the majority of it in May. So I'm hyper fixating on Catherine's writing, Catherine Swift, down below if you want to check out her channel. She has a really interesting book. I'm really enjoying reading it. She already sent me the first part, so I've gotten a head start, which is good. So I'm not including the words, of course, that I write up until April 1st, but if I track 100,000 words of writing and editing by the end of April, I'm pretty sure that will take me to the end of her book, and I will have my 15,000 words of creative writing, and I would potentially have 5,000 to 10,000 words into the next book. So if that number scares you as much as it terrifies me, then please like this video. Drop some love in the comments, whether it is hearts or pens or notebooks or inspirational quotes. Whatever it is, I need it. This is going to be a very busy month for me, but I really love the community around NaNoWriMo events. So I would rather cheat a little bit and count my editing and my writing together and make it easier for myself, and also participate in the community and be there with you guys to live stream and do write-ins and really just hang out, than feel totally overwhelmed, track everything separately, barely keep up with my writing, and be able to attend more live streams than I can host. My goal for my platform this April, and I do have separate, like I have my writing goal, that 100,000 words, and then I also have some platform goals. I would like to live stream at least once a week. Now that's like a perfect situation number. I don't know if it's necessarily going to be as easy as it sounds on paper. I think at the very least I would like to do a live stream every other week, but for now what I'm planning on doing is every Friday I'll be posting a vlog for the previous week. So for the first Friday of April, I actually think it's the 2nd, it's like really early, I'll probably post a first day of April vlog because I'm off work that day, so I plan on being super productive and hitting the ground running. So that Friday I will post a first day of April vlog, and then the following Friday I will post like a first week of April's Camp NaNoWriMo, and so. I am planning on doing my live streams on Wednesdays around the middle of the day. Right now the time 12 to 1:30 sounds really great. I really definitely want to finish before 1:30 or 2, that way I can have a productive rest of the night. If a different time on Wednesday in the morning works for you, comment that down below, because I'm very excited about spending some time and writing with you guys, so I definitely want to be live streaming whenever you guys are available. And then I'm planning on Monday posting sit-down videos where we just talk about either how it's going, our goals, maybe some book talk, a break from the NaNoWriMo number counting, word crunching kind of situation that we always have going around during NaNoWriMo events. As nervous as I am for this obnoxiously high number, I am also very excited, because I've never been able to challenge myself to such a high number of words in my free time in a month before. And I know I am cheating a little bit. They're not all words that I've written. One day, maybe when I have a more stable work schedule, maybe when I'm a full-time editor, I'll be able to commit to something in the 3 digits for my own personal rating. But for now, my personal rating goal stays at 15,000. I think it's important to remember with all these high word count and time crunching things to remember to give yourself grace. And no matter what your word count is, if you hit it, that's amazing. If you hit 5,000 words, that's 5,000 words you didn't have before. If you write 20,000 words, that is absolutely remarkable. If you're writing your entire book in April, then go you, but no matter what, whatever you write is an amazing accomplishment and you should celebrate it. So with that, I will see you next time. Happy Camp NaNoWriMo planning!